I have said that a man should never marry an educated woman that working because they would never make for a good wife and mother. Am I wrong about that?
You are.
Do you agree with me or not that men are the most hated species on this side of heaven?
Yeah. I think they've got it harder than women.
And why are men so hated?
I don't know. Delusional women.
Do you agree with that?
Yeah.
And why you do agree? Why are men so hated? And this is all men, not just white men or Jewish men.
I think it's easy to hate men too, because there's this whole patriarchy, and men have it easy because we're men, but it's not the case. So when you actually hear about what men are going through, it's actually surprising.
Yeah.
It's easy to it, that whole the patriarchy is what confuses people. You know what I mean? Like
Feminist movement.
Yeah, it's the matrix again, bro. It's a societal conditioning to believe that, men have all the power, we can do what we want, women are oppressed, it all comes from that. So it's easy to put the target on their backs, but then you dismiss what men are actually going through. You know what I mean? Because especially right now, life for men it's probably never been worse. You know what I mean? We're in the weakest spot of society we've ever been in as far as emotionally, mental health is probably the biggest issue with men.
Suicide,
you know what I'm saying? The dating world, lack of intimacy, connection with a woman, you know what I mean? Testosterone levels for men are dropping. The feminist movement is, pussifying men. At the same time, they're making men more soft to be more, in touch with their emotions, and they're trying to, cast masculinity aside. That's why this whole toxic masculinity thing is a thing in the first place. It's really not a thing. Like anything can be toxic if you have too much of it, but anything masculine is considered toxic right now.
Right.
That's a problem. Dominance is looked at as negative. Stoicness, anything manly is looked at as negative right now. So it's easy to put that target on like your typical man.
Well, why are men giving into it?
Yeah.
Why are men doing it, allowing that? Because women don't have real power at all. It's just that men allow them to do it, so they're getting worse instead of better. Why are men allowing it?
Society is a motherfucker, bro. I ask this question to myself too, because it's like this only happened in the past 5-10 years.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Before
it got worse, and it's been going on for longer than that, but it got worse over the years.
To the point where men are not saying anything about it.
Right.
And the men that do say anything about it, right? Andrew Tate, for example, he is the epitome of the hatred that society has for men.
Yeah.
He comes out here and says anything, they take him off.
Yeah.
That's an example of I would assume where a lot of men sit, because I'm sure there's a bunch of men still like you and me walking around here, but if they go out here voicing their opinion on something, they're gonna get demonized. And cancel culture, society, that social media stuff is real. You can lose your job over somebody putting a negative review about you, or at work or something gets to a boss that, highlights an employee in an unsavory type of way, they're gonna get rid of him, you know what I'm saying? We're in this soft-ass feminist type of society where, masculine men have their hands tied, and you really gonna have to show how masculine you are right now to actually stand up and say something, because if you gonna say this shit, you gonna feel it too. You better be prepared to feel it. So it's is it worth it for these men to? It is, because we need to fix it.
Yeah.
But on an individual basis,
because things are only gonna get worse in the country, and if men get weaker. Because it's the men that leads the way. Mm-hmm. And if they become weaker, it's only going to get worse for the men. Yep. For the whole world, really. Yep. Because the women suffer too.
Yep.
because they need men to be men.
Women, even the most masculine women needs a masculine man, but
Absolutely.
society's trying to attack the masculine man.
Absolutely.
It makes no sense.
It makes it makes sense,
Yeah,
bro.
it makes
sense
sense.
at the end of the day because of the feminist movement's all chasing the almighty dollar. That's what it is.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Women are more empowered, more empowered, more educated. All this, you put money in their pocket. That's why the feminist movement has as much tension that it has. That's why women can be fat and not be held accountable. That's why women can be hoes and not be held accountable because all that shit puts money in the economy, right?
Absolutely.
They spend the most money.
They're being used for the money.
They're being used. But if you tell them that, it's a fight. It's a fight. So
Why is it so hard for women to hear the truth?
I asked her. We talk about this all the time.
I asked the same question. I think just zero accountability, not being able to take a look in the mirror.
Is it because of their ego?
Ego and just have been coddled and enabled.
Amazing. And they can remember the truth about everybody else and everything else, but when you ask them about themselves, oh, I'm a nice person.
But I can understand. I'm not going to empathize for it because all it takes is self-awareness. But most people are not self-aware. I can
understand
understand how, as a woman, you've grown up and you've been molded to see the world this way.
Right.
Like you've been told you're
By your
beautiful.
mama,
You've been
grandmama,
told
and the world.
Yeah, accept you the way you are. If anybody, you a queen. If anybody has anything else to say negative about it, then they're the fucking enemy. You've been brainwashed to see the world this way.
Yeah.
So you don't know anything outside of that. So it takes some self-awareness to really crack through that. But how many people are going to actually place themselves in a position to break through the matrix?
Absolutely.
You know what I mean?
Yeah,
You're right.
it's a small percentage. And that was me. I mean, I think that was a lot of our issues. I hated hearing anything about myself. So it really took a lot to break through that.
Right on. I have said that a man should never marry an educated woman that working because they would never make for a good wife and mother. Am I wrong about that?
You are.
But you had a breakthrough because he broke that ego, it sounds like. But most educated women, they are so high on the horse that they are unwilling to be broken into the right way.
Yeah, I agree that it's a small minority that can become truly self-aware and change and be a submissive woman, let your man lead, and really flourish in what really biologically feels better. I was probably the most masculine woman, but it feels the absolute best to be feminine. I've achieved so much in my career, and nothing feels better than taking care of the house, cooking a meal for my man, taking care of my baby. No award or amount of money that I've ever made
So
even
what
comes close.
And we ran out of time here, but what was it about Laura in the very beginning that made you want to go through all that, trying to bring her to some kind of common sense?